Chosen one, your time has come. You know that divine call you feel in your life, don't you? That fire within you. Now it is time for you to step into that special time when God has blessed you. You are not an ordinary person. You are chosen. Every step, every struggle, every silent prayer was a preparation. Now you are in the time of preparation for that holy union. In this journey that God has given you, there is no more fear, no more hesitation. Your light will illuminate the soul of the other person, because divine timing never makes mistakes. They tried to ignore you, they did not believe you, but you walked. And now, the energy of that divine match is being drawn into your life. Are you ready? Write 77 in the comments immediately, because the heavens have approved you. You are the chosen one. Now it's time to put on that ring and embrace your destiny. The essence of true growth often disturbs the still waters of complacency. When you start moving with purpose, your presence becomes a shifting current that unsettles those anchored in familiar harbors. They might shield themselves behind walls of silence or avert their gaze, but the current you've unleashed cannot be ignored. It's not about drawing attention. It's about the undeniable energy of momentum that speaks louder than any announcement. This journey isn't for the faint-hearted. The higher you climb, the more the ground below reacts. It's not the summit that bothers others. It's the reminder that the ground they stand on hasn't shifted in years. When you step into new territory, your footprints become markers of what's possible, and that vision can feel like an uninvited spotlight on dormant dreams. Discomfort doesn't need a voice. It whispers through uneasy glances and half-hearted applause. Resistance often arrives dressed as dismissal. The words may sound indifferent, but the undertone is unmistakable. The casual remarks, the lukewarm responses, the sudden distance, these are not mere coincidences. They are the echoes of internal dissonance, the reverberation of someone facing the unspoken question. If they could move forward, why did I remain still? The mirror of ambition reflects more than success. It exposes the quiet abandonment of once cherished goals. Human nature often seeks refuge in control, even when that control is an illusion. In a world where digital platforms serve as stages for self-projection, the act of blocking, ignoring, or dismissing becomes an attempt to reclaim power. But silencing the messenger does not alter the message. The presence of someone else's growth reminds them of the self they promised to become. It's not the rise that unsettles them. It's the realization of what lies dormant within. The road ahead doesn't require permission. Whether eyes follow in admiration or turn away in discomfort, the path remains unchanged. Keep stepping forward, not to prove a point, but to honor the journey. Growth doesn't pause for observers. It propels those willing to move beyond the comfortable horizon. The waves may stir around you, but your course remains steady, for the momentum of purpose is a force no filter can obscure. The gravity of authentic progress often unsettles those tethered to illusions of stability. When an individual begins to move with conviction, their presence becomes an unspoken challenge to those who once dismissed their dreams. The act of growth, in its silent persistence, is a disruptive force. It's not about seeking validation or attention. It's the inevitability of transformation that ripples beyond personal boundaries. When someone steps into their potential, the dynamics around them shift. Comfort zones crack, familiar narratives dissolve, and those who built identities around outdated perceptions find themselves scrambling to maintain control. It's not the success itself that disturbs them. It's the silent question it triggers. If they can break through, why haven't I? The mind resists such inquiries, preferring the simplicity of avoidance. Distance often masquerades as disinterest. Dismissive remarks, sudden absences, and half-hearted congratulations aren't reactions to your actions, but to their own unresolved reflections. Growth acts like a prism, bending light in ways that reveal hidden facets of the self. Some see inspiration, others discomfort. The response isn't personal, it's the mind's defense against confronting dormant potential. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. In digital spaces, this discomfort becomes tangible. The act of blocking or unfollowing isn't a declaration of indifference, but a grasp for control. Removing someone from sight doesn't erase their ascent, it merely shrouds the viewer in curated isolation. The narrative they cling to requires the absence of reminders that growth is possible beyond excuses. The path of genuine expansion is indifferent to audience reactions, applause or silence, celebration or dismissal. These are external echoes with no bearing on the internal compass. The pursuit of growth demands focus on the journey itself, not the watchers on the sidelines. Momentum, once ignited, flows irrespective of the perceptions it disturbs. Reality doesn't vanish with a click. Blocking a person doesn't dissolve the truth of their evolution. It only constructs a fragile wall against its reflection. In the end, the discomfort isn't about the one being blocked, but about the unspoken realization that potential, once recognized in others, demands acknowledgement within oneself. What fuels this transformation? It's the quiet discomfort of comparison. Progress, when witnessed up close, forces introspection. Every achievement, every step forward, becomes a mirror reflecting paths untaken and risks unattempted. It's not the external success that unsettles them. It's the internal dissonance it provokes. And so, they choose the simplest escape. Removal, not of their doubts or limitations, but of the person who inadvertently exposes them. Yet, the act of blocking is more than a digital maneuver. It's a psychological refuge. Out of sight, they hope, means out of mind. But influence doesn't dissolve in absence. The echoes remain, the inspiration lingers, and the one who was erased continues to occupy unspoken corners of thought. They may cleanse their timeline, but they cannot erase the impression etched into their subconscious. Imitation emerges as a byproduct of this paradox. The very individuals who reject your presence often find themselves replicating your essence. The style, the language, the ideas, borrowed and repurposed without acknowledgement. It's a silent tribute, wrapped in denial. They can mimic the visible elements, but the core remains untouchable. Authenticity, after all, isn't surface level. It's the culmination of trials endured and lessons absorbed. This intrinsic substance cannot be copied, no matter how meticulously the facade is constructed. For those who walk their path with unwavering conviction, the noise of spectators becomes irrelevant. The journey isn't defined by the applause or the criticism, but by the internal compass that guides each step. The world may react in myriad ways, with intrigue, with resistance, with silent observation, but the path remains yours alone. To those who resonate with this reality, continue, unfazed. The distractions will come, the shadows will watch, the echoes will persist. Yet, the power lies in the stride, the forward motion, the unyielding commitment to the path ahead. Legacy isn't crafted through validation. It's forged in the quiet, persistent pursuit of one's truth. The essence of genuine individuality often challenges the constructs society imposes. Many are conditioned to wait for external nods of approval, to seek permission before daring to step into their power. Yet, there are those who break free, who move with conviction without the applause of the crowd. This defiance of expectation stirs discomfort in observers who have long adhered to the rules of consensus validation. Success, in their worldview, should be a communal decision, not a solitary pursuit. When someone dares to disrupt this narrative, it unsettles the carefully maintained order. The autonomy of self-belief sends shockwaves through the environment. When achievements arise without the conventional scaffolding of public endorsement, questions surface. How did they ascend without validation? How did they persevere when no one clapped? This mystery rattles the spectators who assumed that progress required external affirmation. The discomfort doesn't stem from the success itself, but from the dismantling of a deeply ingrained belief that self-worth is conferred by others. Such revelations can provoke protective reactions. The simplest, yet most telling response is disconnection. Blocking, unfollowing, disengaging. All actions rooted in the instinct to avoid the dissonance of internal contradiction. It's not the individual's presence that triggers this act, but the reflection it casts. The blocked profile becomes a digital ghost, a reminder of what might have been if courage had replaced conformity. In this dance of visibility and avoidance, imitation often follows rejection. The ones who recoil in discomfort may later resurface as silent replicators, borrowing ideas, styles, and phrases without acknowledgement. This mimicry, however, is superficial. Authenticity, shaped by lived experiences and earned wisdom, resists replication. The essence that fuels genuine success cannot be copied, for it is the intangible product of trials, resilience, and self-trust. To walk a path of authentic growth requires a steady gaze forward. The onlookers, the blockers, the imitators, they are peripheral to the journey's core. Impact isn't measured by numbers or validation, but by the quiet, persistent unfolding of potential. The world may react with confusion or resistance, yet the trajectory remains unchanged. To those who resonate with this truth, continue without hesitation. The reactions you provoke are not obstacles, but confirmations. Discomfort in others signals the disruption of stagnant patterns. Press on, not for recognition, but for the integrity of the path itself. The echoes of your momentum will linger beyond any barrier imposed in fear. The undeniable impact of authentic influence creates ripples that many find unsettling. When an individual moves with purpose, when their actions are fueled by internal conviction rather than external approval, the world around them shifts. This shift often provokes resistance from those who are still tethered to societal expectations. They may retreat, disengage, or attempt to erase the presence that challenges their comfort. But energy doesn't dissipate with avoidance. It only transforms, embedding itself deeper into the collective consciousness. The absence of visible engagement doesn't signify irrelevance. Silent observers often linger in the shadows, wrestling with conflicting emotions, admiration for the courage displayed, and discomfort with the mirror it holds up to their own inertia. Blocking or unfollowing isn't an act of indifference, but a reaction to the dissonance created by witnessing someone else's growth. The more they resist, the more significant that presence becomes, turning avoidance into inadvertent acknowledgement. Imagine a lighthouse standing firm against the vast, restless ocean. Its beam, steady and unwavering, guides ships through the darkest nights without chasing recognition or approval. That light, like the essence of a chosen soul, shines not because it demands attention, but because it was created to illuminate the path for others. Success, when rooted in authenticity, extends beyond digital interactions. It manifests in conversations, decisions, and perceptions long after a profile has been muted. The energy of genuine achievement doesn't rely on algorithms. It resonates in the minds of those who once bore witness to its rise. Blocking an individual doesn't erase the memory of their trajectory. It only highlights the emotional response triggered by it. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. This influence, much like the warmth of the morning sun, cannot be hidden by closed blinds or ignored by those who feel its touch. Authentic success carries an invisible current, a spiritual frequency that moves through spaces seen and unseen. It speaks to the hearts of those who are aligned with purpose, those who understand that true growth begins within. The absence of visible engagement doesn't signify irrelevance. Silent observers often linger in the shadows, wrestling with conflicting emotions, admiration for the courage displayed, and discomfort with the mirror it holds up to their own inertia. Blocking or unfollowing isn't an act of indifference, but a reaction to the dissonance created by witnessing someone else's growth. The more they resist, the more significant that presence becomes, turning avoidance into inadvertent acknowledgement. Success, when rooted in authenticity, extends beyond digital interactions. It manifests in conversations, decisions, and perceptions long after a profile has been muted. The energy of genuine achievement doesn't rely on algorithms. It resonates in the minds of those who once bore witness to its rise. Blocking an individual doesn't erase the memory of their trajectory. It only highlights the emotional response triggered by it. Like seeds carried by the wind, the essence of authentic influence plants itself in minds long after the initial encounter. Growth happens beneath the surface, unseen but inevitable. The roots dig deep into the soil of consciousness, and the fruits of that labor appear when least expected. The phenomenon of imitation often follows this resistance. Those who reject or dismiss an influential presence might later adopt its attributes, ideas, or strategies. Yet, replication without understanding produces hollow results. Authentic influence isn't crafted through mimicry. It's forged through perseverance, integrity, and self-awareness. The essence of success lies not in appearances, but in the depth of the journey that shaped it. To navigate this landscape requires an unwavering focus on the mission at hand. External reactions, whether supportive or dismissive, should remain peripheral to the core pursuit of growth. Influence is not measured by the absence or presence of followers, but by the lasting impact left on those who encounter the work. True power resides in consistency. The reactions of others, whether manifested through engagement, imitation, or avoidance, serve as reflections of their own internal battles. For the one on the path of purpose, these responses become irrelevant. The journey continues, the work endures, and the influence persists, unbound by external perceptions. Consider the oak tree standing proud in a quiet field. Seasons change, winds blow, and storms rage, yet the tree remains. Its strength doesn't come from who watches it grow, but from the roots hidden beneath the surface. Authentic success follows the same law. It grows from within and extends beyond the visible world. In a world obsessed with fleeting moments of attention, the chosen ones walk a different path. Their purpose is not dictated by likes or follows, but by a calling etched into their souls long before the world took notice. And so, they shine on, knowing that the true measure of influence is not found in fleeting applause, but in the enduring transformation left in their wake. The phenomenon of imitation often follows this resistance. Those who reject or dismiss an influential presence might later adopt its attributes, ideas, or strategies. Yet, replication without understanding produces hollow results. Authentic influence isn't crafted through mimicry. It's forged through perseverance, integrity, and self-awareness. The essence of success lies not in appearances, but in the depth of the journey that shaped it. Picture a shepherd guiding their flock through a misty valley at dawn. The path is unclear, the ground uneven, and yet the shepherd moves with confidence, focused not on the shadows around them, but on the destination ahead. They know the whispers of the wind can't change the path beneath their feet, and the noise of the world doesn't dictate the journey's end. In the same way, to navigate this landscape requires an unwavering focus on the mission at hand. External reactions, whether supportive or dismissive, should remain peripheral to the core pursuit of growth. Influence is not measured by the absence or presence of followers, but by the lasting impact left on those who encounter the work. Imagine a mountain standing tall against the backdrop of a raging storm. The winds howl, the skies darken, and yet the mountain remains unshaken, unyielding, grounded in the foundation laid long before the storm ever arrived. That mountain doesn't question its purpose. It simply stands, fulfilling its role with quiet, steadfast strength. Success rooted in purpose isn't swayed by passing opinions. It stands firm, like a lighthouse anchored to the rocks, casting its beam across the waters regardless of who acknowledges its glow. There's a spiritual certainty that comes with knowing your mission. When you're walking in alignment with divine purpose, external distractions lose their grip. Picture a candle in a dimly lit room. It doesn't scream for attention, nor does it flicker in doubt when the darkness presses in. That flame stands steady, fueled by a source that doesn't depend on the presence of others. It glows with quiet determination, reminding anyone who pauses to notice that even the smallest light can overcome the greatest shadow. Purpose-driven success is not a fleeting spark, but a sustained flame, fueled by a conviction that doesn't require applause to keep burning. It moves with the confidence of the ocean's tide, coming and going by a force greater than human understanding. The world might criticize, question, or ignore your journey, but the calling etched into your soul remains untouched. Like a tree planted by streams of living water, this kind of success isn't seasonal. It doesn't waver when the leaves of external validation wither. Its roots dig deep, tapping into a reservoir unseen by human eyes, a wellspring of divine purpose that nourishes the soul long after worldly applause has faded. The journey of purpose is often solitary, not because the path is flawed, but because the calling is distinct. Chosen souls walk differently. They don't chase the latest trends or bow to the shifting winds of public opinion. Instead, they walk with the kind of peace that comes from knowing their footsteps align with a higher design. Purpose-driven success is not a fleeting spark, but a sustained flame, fueled by a conviction that doesn't require applause to keep burning. It moves with the confidence of the ocean's tide, coming and going by a force greater than human understanding. The world might criticize, question, or ignore your journey, but the calling etched into your soul remains untouched. Imagine the sun. It rises each morning without fail, never seeking permission from the earth. Its warmth reaches all who stand in its path, yet it demands recognition from none. In the same way, when success is born from purpose, it becomes inevitable. It doesn't require an audience to validate its worth. It exists as a natural consequence of obedience to one's divine mission. This flame of purpose can't be extinguished by external doubt because its source lies beyond human reach. It's anchored in the unwavering truth that when you're called, you're equipped. And when you're equipped, the obstacles lose their power. So walk boldly. Let your flame burn unapologetically. Know that the light within you isn't here to be approved. It's here to illuminate a path for those still searching in the dark. The strength of a chosen life lies in the quiet knowing that the assignment wasn't handed out by public opinion, but by a higher design. The ones who grasp this truth walk with a different posture. They don't flinch when misunderstood, nor do they shrink when overlooked. They understand that validation from the crowd cannot compare to the certainty of divine direction. Success rooted in purpose isn't swayed by passing opinions. It stands firm, like a lighthouse anchored to the rocks, casting its beam across the waters regardless of who acknowledges its glow. There's a spiritual certainty that comes with knowing your mission. When you're walking in alignment with divine purpose, external distractions lose their grip. Just as the river carves its path through stone with quiet persistence, success born from purpose leaves an imprint on the world that no storm can erase. The river doesn't pause to explain its course. It simply flows, knowing that the work will speak long after its waters have passed. When you align with your true mission, the noise fades into the background. The opinions, the judgments, the fleeting distractions lose their power. What remains is the unshakable core of who you are and what you've been called to do. And in that sacred space, success ceases to be a destination and becomes a reflection of obedience to the work you were designed for. Keep going, keep building. Stay anchored in the certainty that your purpose is no accident. The mountain doesn't move for the storm, and neither should you. To navigate this landscape requires an unwavering focus on the mission at hand. External reactions, whether supportive or dismissive, should remain peripheral to the core pursuit of growth. Influence is not measured by the absence or presence of followers, but by the lasting impact left on those who encounter the work. True influence is like planting a seed in fertile soil. You don't dig it up every day to check its progress. You trust the process, knowing that growth is guaranteed when the conditions are right. People may come and go, opinions may shift, but the essence of your mission remains unshaken. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Authentic success doesn't chase applause. It moves with the steady rhythm of faith, believing that the harvest will come in its season. And those who are chosen for a higher purpose walk this path with a knowing smile, because they understand that the real work isn't done for external validation, but for the legacy left behind. Consider the sun. It never asks the earth if it should rise. It simply does, fulfilling its purpose with unwavering consistency. In the same way, those driven by true purpose don't wait for external approval. They rise, they shine, and they persist, knowing that their impact goes beyond fleeting recognition. Stay focused, stay faithful, and trust that the work you're doing, the mission you're on, is seen by the one who matters most. The rewards, the growth, the legacy will come, not because you chased them, but because you stayed true to your calling. True power resides in consistency. The reactions of others, whether manifested through engagement, imitation, or avoidance, serve as reflections of their own internal battles. For the one on the path of purpose, these responses become irrelevant. The journey continues, the work endures, and the influence persists, unbound by external perceptions.